All right, welcome to the last and final video in the Designing a 3D Printed Bearing series. So we've gone through 2 videos so far, and today in this video we're going to address the issue where we left off last time, where it's not spinning. We got quite a bit of friction here. So we're going to jump back into Fusion and look how we can go from that model to here where we've got a nice spin. So I've enjoyed getting and reading your comments below, and I took those into account in addressing some of the issues that we're going to look into today. If you enjoyed this type of deep dive into these designs, they could be single or multi-part series. Let me know in the comments. I'm trying to figure out whether I should do more of these or just kind of keep the designs simple in videos where you touch only, one category at a time, possibly. But love to get your feedback on that. If you want to support my channel so that I can continue making more videos like this, there's a few ways to do that. I'll be leaving links below to my Fusion courses. So if you're looking to learn how to design using Fusion in a very structured approach, check out the courses. I have pre-recorded courses that you go on your own pace, or I also have a weekly Fusion class that meets over Zoom where you can share your designs and ask questions. All right, let's jump into Fusion. All right, so let's pick up where we left off in the last video. So I ended up printing the bearing, and the issue was that it was just too tight. So a couple things I wanted to test here. One was the snap fit mechanism. That actually worked out really well. I thought I may have to come back and tweak that a bit, but if you recall, I left a 0.3 millimeter clearance between the two sides here, and so that gave me a nice, really solid snap fit that held in place, and that I could remove. A little tough to remove, but I think that's a good thing in this case. So that part worked out fine, but the issue then was the amount of friction I was getting. And then so, based on the comments, many of you figured it out why that issue was. And it really comes down to the fact that I didn't add any clearance here between the bearings and the races here. So, okay, we'll call these the rollers. So the rollers here are going to be rubbing against the sides here. And also, there's an issue if you take a look at this. Let me untoggle the analysis. The fact that when these spin, they're actually going to be spinning counter revolution to each other. So this will be spinning one way and this the other way. So because of the opposing direction in the spin, they're actually going to function as brakes. So that's also an issue. If we do an inspection between the two faces of the rollers, we see that there's a little bit of a gap. We can see that better here at 0.08, which, I don't think is enough. So we'll have to fix that. So basically it comes down to we need to add some clearance here so that we can remove some of that friction. There were several really good comments on some things I should look at. One of them was by Sergey, who picked up on when I did this revolve here. When I originally did it, it defaulted to a cut. So, and he made a good point there that the reason there was a cut is because there was an interference. So let me kind of go back here before that revolve, and I'll show that here. If I bring that profile, and then if I do create revolve, select this profile, and we're going to revolve that around this central axis. You see that Fusion defaults to a cut, and it will only do that if there's an interference between parts. So if it sees one part, the profile is going to cut into another part, it'll automatically default into a cut versus defaulting to a new body. So that's the first clue that something was off here. And so he mentioned doing an interference check, which is another really cool tool here. So let me just bring this timeline back. So we can find our interference tool here if we go to inspect, and right under it there's interference. And the way this works is you just select the two bodies. So I can select this body and the roller and the bottom piece there, and then click on compute, and it'll go ahead and show you the area there, give you the volume of where it's actually interfering. And so you can see that because this bearing here, or the roller, is a flat piece, and we're doing a revolve around that, there's a section of that it would need to cut out. So that's a big part of the interference there. And this is a neat little inspection menu it gives you. So you got the volume, component 1, component 2, and it gives you the exact volume. You can also do it between multiple parts if you wanted to see all the parts that interfered. You can actually just select them all. And then if we do, actually just select them everything and then click compute, it'll actually highlight all the ones. So all the rollers here that interfere with the bottom, and it gives them all different color. So neat tool there. Go ahead and see if things are interfering when you're 3D printing them. So one option I could do is I could go back, so create another revolve like I just did here. So let's go to create revolve, select this, and I can go ahead and make that cut. Select my axis, we'll do my Z-axis there. Just say go ahead and cut it. And then, so in the next step, I cut it, and then I create the new revolve. And then let's check the interference here and see what happens. So now we'll just do one of them because they're all going to be the same. So these two bodies, see no interference detected. That would solve the problem. However, it would introduce a new problem where, it may be hard to see here, but let me try to turn it here. Now we have, you'll see, yeah, you can actually see it here. This is a curve, it's no longer flat because it made the cut to cut this out. So then the issue introduced there would be 3D printing this. I wouldn't have a flat surface to place this on the bed, so then I'd have to do, like a supports or do a raft there, which now you're looking at post-processing, cleaning that up, trying to make it smooth. I don't think it's worth the headache in that case for 3D printing. So these are sort of the compromises we're going to have to make. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that cut feature and make it flat. And instead of making a cut, what I'll do is I'll add some clearances. A couple ways I could go about that. I can do an offset to this face and this face here to just push these out a little more. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll need to do it to the top and the bottom. So I'll do modify offset face. I'll select this and this, and then so it should show me. You want to make sure, verify here, it didn't make that last selection, so let's click it again. So 2 selected, and I'll bring the top, might as well do that at the same time. And I'll select this face and this face. So I have 4, and I'll do a negative, let's do 0.2 millimeter clearance to bring that in. Let's bring those cylinders in, and now try the interference here. Let me bring this top, reorganize this. Okay, so let's go to inspect interference. Check that interference here. Choose both bodies, click compute, no interference detected. Okay, we are good, that takes care of that. Let's just quickly do a section analysis to see how that looks, and you can go ahead and see the clearances there modeled in. So looking at this, and this is really good to take a look at the section analysis, because now I think we'll have a problem, because basically this renders the rollers useless, because now we can see we can have a situation where they're not making any contact with the top and the bottom, and so they're just kind of floating in here. And really the contact is going to be between the top and bottom, this face here. So to make sure that the bearings actually make contact and not these faces, what I'll do is I'll apply an offset to those faces as well. So let me do that. So we'll go to modify offset face. I'm going to take this along with the top portion. Let's do negative 0.2 millimeter. So now leaving that little gap, I think will ensure that we're actually making contact with the rollers here and not just this face. Actually, we should have included this face as well. So let me go back and add that. I'll double click on that feature to add it. And here I'll hold Control Command and just add this to the selection for the bottom and the top. Okay, click OK. Let's look at that analysis now. So yeah, we want to see it on both sides. Okay, one more thing to address here, and that's going to be the spacing between bearings. Again, we don't want them coming in contact with each other as they roll because they're spinning in opposite directions, and that will create friction. So a couple ways I could go about that. I can either make this circumference here a little bit bigger or bigger diameter to give these more space in between them, or I can actually just offset the faces of the rollers, make them a little bit smaller. So what I'm going to do is that second option. I'm going to make these a little bit smaller. I'm going to bring my timeline back here to just after these 2 revolves, and I'll just throw it also after that chamfer. Modify, offset face, select these 2 faces. Let's go with a negative 0.2 millimeter. You'll see them get a little bit smaller. Click OK. I'm going to bring my timeline all the way back to the end. And now if we do an inspection between 2, you can see that there's already like much bigger gap, but that distance now is 0.48 versus 0.08. So that'll give us the clearance in between the 2 rollers. All right, I believe this should solve our friction issue. So let's do one last analysis, and we will print this, assemble it, and see what happens. All right, got iteration 2 here. So this is after we've made the changes. I'm gonna apply the same tests. I'm gonna try first just the snap fit. I didn't really make any changes to that part, so this shouldn't be any different. Okay, it's got a nice, powerful snap, feels good. And it spins fine. All right, so now I'm gonna take it back out. It is really tough removing, which may be a good thing because you're probably not going to disassemble this too many times. Okay, I'm actually going to need to get a little screwdriver in there. One thing I noticed is you do see that play there, that clearance that I modeled in there. I'm going to pop a screwdriver and just use that to pop it out. That works really well. All right, let's throw the bearings in here and give it a try. One obvious difference you see between this and the previous version is now we've got quite a bit of spacing in between, and that's simply due to that 0.2 millimeter offset I did, that negative offset on the sides of these bearings. So that added all together gets almost enough spacing there, I'd say, to fit one more bearing. All right, but let's give it a try and see how that works. So the reason for that is now as these move, there'll be some spacing, and hopefully like they won't be rubbing against each other. And since they'll be spinning in countering directions, it actually would create quite a bit of friction. So let's try snapping this back on. Nice snap. All right, well, it spins pretty good. And I know that it's resting on the bearing because of the gap here, and I can't if I push this all the way down, it's not touching, so it has to be resting on the bearing. I may print another one actually without the top, maybe with an opening here, so I can see whether the bearings are actually moving. To do that, I'm gonna take this top surface here and extrude it down. Now, you want to be careful here. If I just do a regular E for extrude and go down, you see how it just, it goes straight up and down, and it'll end up leaving this cone section here. So you don't want to do a straight extrude. What I'm going to do here is a press pull. And then if I take this and go down, you can see it'll follow that shape. So maybe go down -5 millimeters, and I'm just going to leave enough material there for the bearings there to rest. I'll do the same thing on the top. So choose this surface, press pull, and then we'll go the same direction here, -5, or the same distance. Click OK. And I think that should be enough to hold the bearings there, because it'll roll. It's really rolling on this surface, right? And on this surface up here. If we do an analysis, you may see it a little better. So yeah, it's still gonna roll quite a bit. It'll have this surface here, but on this side, it'll be contained by this top and bottom surface here. and I just want to create an opening there so I can see whether they're actually rolling or not. So let's go ahead and try printing that. Okay, here's the print with the shortened sides. This is a real pain to get these bearings lined up on this one because there's not much material holding. Crap. Try again. Okay, we'll try to be very careful this time. Line it up. Let's see if third time's a charm. Yes. Okay. Oh. I don't think I left enough material. Yeah, that's a fail. Alright, we'll try again. Okay, I'm just going to add back 1 millimeter to each side. So I'll open up this last offset, change this from -5 to -4. And we'll go to the one previous for the top. Do the same thing, -5 to -4. Click OK, and hopefully that's enough. Okay, fourth time is a charm, is what I say. We got it in. Okay, they don't fall out, so looks like we got enough material. And all right, it's spinning. I don't see that the rollers are actually like rolling. What it's doing is it's just sort of, I think, sliding along the top. Which, you know what, I think it's fine for 3D printed applications for this. And if I give this a spin, you see it's got a nice spin. So for any, maybe, you know, a Lazy Susan or some other type of application, I think, you know, this would work as a really functional 3D printed bearing. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. Throughout the video, you probably see me using constraints a lot. They allow you to efficiently move through your design, so you're designing much quicker. And they also allow you to be able to create designs that you can come back and make changes and that they don't break. So if you want to learn how to master constraints, check out my constraints cheat sheet I have below. It lists all the constraints and shows exactly how they work. I can't recommend it enough. If you're finding value from these lessons, consider becoming a Patreon. I have the link below where you can join as a Patreon supporter. I'll also be including the Fusion design file to all my Patreon supporters so that you can go ahead and download the file, give the design a try, compare it with your own, or just go in and play with the design to better understand my approach. All right, guys, I will see you in the next one.